Welcome in. Welcome in. Have a seat. Thanks for joining us. We're so excited that you're here. I'm really pumped. We have a lot of great stuff for you in the show, like an extra $500 per month. It won't cover all the bills, but it would make a meaningful difference to a lot of Northern Californians. And in tonight's main point, we're talking about something called guaranteed income or universal basic income, which is just extra money in your pocket every month with no rules about how to spend it. And that's what the United Way California Capital Region is offering people in Sacramento. And applications, they're open now. So Becca Hotbegger has more on the effort that gets more and more places are giving. They're giving it a try.
Daisy Chan and her family of 4 received $350 per month for 6 months through a program funded by a private grant. She says the 6 months of no strings attached cash has been significant. It allowed the family to be financially secure when her husband lost his job, allowed her to save up to buy new beds for the family, and even pay for her 13-year-old to start playing soccer. The program that helped them is one of many across the state and country as universal basic income has been gaining momentum. In February of 2019, you may recall, then Stockton Mayor Michael Tubbs launched the nation's first city-led guaranteed universal basic income experiment. It sent $500 a month for 24 months to 125 recipients with no strings attached.
I think we could definitely call it a movement. I don't think we ever thought we would be at this place even a few years ago.
Sean Klein is the associate director of the Stanford Basic Income Lab, launched in 2017 to study the successes and roadblocks of basic income pilots across the country. Early findings show families spent the money on necessities like rent and food, not drugs and alcohol, and allowed adults to look for better paying full-time jobs, and does not cause reliance on the program. Some of the arguments by critics.
$500 a month, no strings attached, for 12 months.
Dr. Dante Early is president and CEO of United Way California Capital Region, which is offering this opportunity to people living in the city of Sacramento starting in July. She says they already have stats and stories showing the benefit of a guaranteed income program. That's because they're in the final few months of a first group of 100 people who, starting July of 2021, received $300 per month.
Lots of stories of individuals who are working multiple jobs who have been able to just get a little bit of breathing room in order to pay their rent as rents have increased, in order to fix their cars, even just to save. Most of these families were actually women-led families, and so a lot of these dollars went to childcare and putting food on the table.
She added United Way is partnering with Sac State to do an analysis of the impact of these extra dollars.
It's important that as we invest resources, that we evaluate whether those resources are having the intended impact. We know, again, from our first cohort, that this program absolutely is essential to helping people get out of poverty.
And Becca, if people do want to apply for the $500 a month, what do they need to know?
Yep, that is an important question. Well, first, for this United Way program, you have to live in Sacramento. That's because the money is coming from the city. They're spending some of their federal emergency COVID funds on this. The deadline to apply is April 14th. There are income requirements. That information and how to apply is on our website, abc10.com/to-the-point. Look for the links mentioned article.
And how many people are applying for this? Do we know?
Yeah, well, kind of taking a broader look, statewide, CalMatters reports more than 40 guaranteed income pilot programs have happened or are in the works, benefiting more than 12,000 Californians. Now state lawmakers, by the way, are looking at making one official. A bill making its way through the legislature would create a fund to give $1,000 monthly for 5 months to 12th graders at public high schools who are experiencing homelessness, or like youth in the foster system who are aging out of that. That would start right before the end of the school year, kind of ushering them into this adulthood with just that extra cushion of cash.
Now, on the other side of this, I mean, critics do say that this could incentivize people to not actually go to work as well, right?
Sure, yeah, we've heard people bring up that concern too, and I asked Dr. Early about that. She points out, of course, $500 alone isn't enough to live on, and she says in the Sacramento region specifically, someone needs to make about $25 per hour to meet their basic needs. So an extra $500 per month is going to help them make ends meet, not live a life of luxury or laziness, right?
Yeah. All right, Becca, thank you so much. All right, so if you do want some more information or you're interested in applying for the Guaranteed Income Program, we have put together a list of resources in our area. You can head to abc10.com. And we also want to hear from you. You may have already noticed that QR code on the corner of your screen. All you have to do is just scan it. Tell us what you would do with an extra $500 a month. I want to hear. All right, so another money story that we have been following. The Federal Reserve announced that they are raising interest rates by 0.25%. The thought process is that higher interest rates will raise prices and will make consumers more hesitant to spend. Less spending will eventually lower inflation. Does the theory work? Well, sort of. I mean, the Fed started to raise rates about this time last year when inflation was at its highest. It's dropped about 3% since then, so from 9% down to 6%. All right, let's get a check of our weather here with Monica. Happy Friday Eve. Are we going to have a good weekend?
Friday. I know. Still tracking active weather even into this evening. We've got snow showers for this year and also a cluster of thunderstorms developing for the central Sacramento Valley. So around Chico and Yuba City, still some lightning strikes and some hail as well. In the 80-50 corridor, areas of snow still falling on many mountain highways and also some showers just down the hill towards Folsom and Roseville, just exiting from some heavier rain there. For Sonora, it's rain up the hill. For Arnold, it is snow as well as for Bear Valley. The snow continues to fall tonight through early tomorrow. Winter weather advisory in place until 5 a.m. Additional snow accumulation will be happening and on and off travel concerns. Then we get into the cold weather really plummeting its way southward here from Canada, and that's going to give us a frosty start to our Friday as well as Saturday and Sunday with a frost advisory in place from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. each day's temperatures in the 20s and 30s. So damage to some budding fruit trees is certainly possible, as well as the precious vegetation that's outdoors. Make sure you bring that inside with lows tomorrow morning falling deep into the 30s for the valley and the foothills. We're in the teens for the Sierra. We'll talk about a big weather system, though, on the way early next week.
Thanks, Monica. All right, after the break, a family scared about retaliation tonight after a scam showed up on their front door when only their kids were home. All right, here are some other stories that people are talking about today. The governor's bill aimed at clapping back at gas station price gouging breezed through the Senate today. The bill would create a regulatory commission that major gas companies would have to submit data to. The commission will then use the data to see if the prices being charged in California are reasonable. It also has the power to subpoena oil executives to testify. And a Stockton family says a man claimed he was an Amazon worker to get into their home. Look at this video. It happened in the Weston Ranch neighborhood. He rung the doorbell, told the two teenagers they needed to sign for a package. The teens were the only ones home, and that's when he assaulted them and got into their home. A neighbor was able to get the fake driver on camera. 3 other men were involved in the robbery plot, and those suspects are still on the run tonight. March for Your Lives is holding a rally at the west steps of the Capitol tomorrow. The march comes 5 years after 17 people were killed and 17 others were injured at a shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. We have spoke with some of the event's organizers about the message they hope to send.
This is something that's really important because we want folks who are gun owners and also who are going to potentially conceal carry in public to be responsible gun owners and to also be held to a very high standard because we know that firearms in public and firearms in the public can be a dangerous combination for a variety of different reasons.
And they're expecting about 300 people to show up at the state capitol tomorrow. Okay, still to come, take a look at the impacts these storms are having on buildings in Tahoe. I mean, some people can't even get into their grocery store. We're going to take a look after the break. Tahoe is experiencing its second snowiest winter on record, and it's kind of hard to put into words the impact that the weight of rain on top of snow is having on buildings. So instead of just talking about it, we sent Devin Truby up to South Lake Tahoe today to show you the impact.
Hey Alex, South Lake Tahoe is still not able to fully assess all of their damage because of this. It continues to snow and pile onto collapses just like this. This was a Swiss Smart and gas station where the roof tilted due to snow loading, completely collapsed, starting a fire that was caught on camera here. This video provided to us by South Lake Tahoe Fire and Rescue. We spoke to the fire marshal today who told us that they have been looking at over 100 buildings with damages. At least 20 of them so far have red tags, and she would say the norm is that most building assessors will never see a red tagged building during their career. Now, something else the city is really focusing on is potholes. There are these crater-like potholes around South Lake Tahoe, and the solution right now is to use a cold mix. That's all they can do. And then once it's summer, they'll go over with what they call a hot mix, which will fully seal and prevent the holes from reopening back up. But with this weather and constant temperature fluctuation, even when they are fixing some potholes, they're seeing them re-crack the surface over the repair at this point in time right now. And there are many other collapses like this in South Lake Tahoe. Another one is the Rayleighs, where the roof caved in. We spoke with corporate today to get an update. They said they're not sure what they plan to do with that store yet, and they had experts in to survey the damage earlier this week. Alex.
And more severe weather today. This is video just out of Yuba City. Hail falling in the area as thunderstorms roared through neighborhoods just hours ago. And we are going to have a lot more on potholes caused by these storms in just a few minutes. But first, Monica, it's still snowing. Like, still.
I know. You saw Devin up there. And so folks are digging out. And then right after that, they get hit with yet more snow. And we're going to be tracking a really big system into early next week. In the meantime, still tracking thunderstorms tonight. You can see just off to the east of Yuba City that isolated cell producing some thunderstorms, as well as lightning moving off to the east towards Loma Rica and eventually into Grass Valley. The wider view will show snow showers for the Sierra all the way south of Highway 50. And there's those isolated thunderstorms in the central Sacramento Valley. Those have been pretty much popping off throughout the afternoon and the early evening. Now on to the snow. As you just heard, second snowiest on record. That is true as well for the Central Sierra Snow Lab, where in the last couple of days, we actually exceeded the third rank and now moved into the second snowiest. That is not true of all this Sierra, but generally speaking, we are looking at huge numbers. And when we combine both the reservoir storage and the snowpack, you can see with this orange line right here, we are well above average. That is putting us in a very good place, especially for a place like Shasta. This is one that we've been watching. It's been very difficult to fill that reservoir. It's our biggest in the state just within the last 24 hours, moving into above 100% of average. That will start to chip away at our drought conditions. And that's one of the areas that we actually saw some improvement. Most of the state, it was status quo. But throughout the northern part of the state and specifically through Shasta County, we saw moving out of the moderate drought into just abnormally dry. Good news there. And slowly but surely, we're continuing to kind of chip away at those drought conditions. Next week's storm will help again. Moderate heavy rain and snow. Snow level between 2,500 and 4,000 feet. So those of us that had just dug out from those cold storms, we're about to get hit again. Right now, that storm system brewing out in the Pacific, so we get a couple days break here. We're still picking up additional accumulation, though, coming in since midnight, about 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch of rain falling. Our temperatures for today on the cool side, only near 60 for the valley, close to 50 for the foothills, and 30s for the Sierra. Tomorrow's forecast, it is our Friday forecast. Variable clouds out there, light northwest winds, and our highs staying 10 degrees below average, and we have that frost advisory in effect for the morning. We lose the snow showers throughout the day. Periods of some light flurries expected both Friday and Saturday for the Sierra. But other than that, it should be fairly dry and much easier travel into the high country. Then we gear up for this much more organized and potent system, giving us roughly about 1 inch to 3 inches of rain in the valley, 2 to 4 inches of rain for the upper valley and lower foothills. And then with that snow level down to about 2,500 to 4,000 feet, we're expecting 3 to 5 feet of snow for some of the higher elevations. Highs will be in the 30s tomorrow for the Sierra, 40s and 50s down low, and we'll see 50s and 60s across the coast. Morning lows, though, for the valley, very cold in the 20s and 30s, highs warming to about 60. 5-day forecast, you can see the snow flurries in there for the mountains, and the foothills will start to see those showers early next week. We'll see that as well for the valley. Much bigger storm heading our way early next week.
Thanks, Monica. And this video is just in from Roseville of hail that just fell there. As Monica was talking about, severe thunderstorm warnings were active just this afternoon. Okay, and here's a weather-related problem that you told us about, potholes, specifically in West Sacramento, though. Our traffic reporter, Jordan Tolbert, reaching out in a community Facebook group, and more than 100 of you got back to her. She spoke to some of you and the Public Works Department, and here's what she found out about how they got so bad and when they might be fixed.
I personally have had to replace 2 tires from potholes in West Sacramento where we've hit them and it's blown up the tire.
Modigan says his tale of 2 tires isn't unique in West Sacramento. He's heard of more people blowing out tires and denting wheels because of potholes. William Roberts is the Public Works Director in West Sacramento, and he told me crews fill potholes as quickly as possible, and they get complaints every day, but it all depends on good weather and staffing.
Given this window and the temperature, it's perfect. We'll be out here actually doing the work that's expected. When it rains, that's when it goes into a lull. It takes time to come back to actually work on this, and so there's a gap in the work. So we try our best.
Cody Sears lives and works near Southport, a road with many potholes, and created a group called WS Road Quality Accountability Group to help address concerns there and elsewhere in West Sacramento. He communicates information from city leaders and meetings to members and listens to their concerns.
The same thing that people are saying is just we want the city to care about the roads that we use daily. And it's not necessarily just residents either, it's business owners, like the business that we run here, it affects our tenants.
He hopes the city can plan long-term solutions for road fixes on Southport and other West Sacramento roads. John Zonneveld works off of Southport and says potholes can be dangerous because people swerve or drive onto the shoulder to miss them along the road.
I ride the right side over that white line to miss the potholes. And somebody eventually is going to get hit.
Robert says city leaders are aware of the issue, but that they didn't happen overnight, rather as the result of several factors.
Weather, traffic, volume, the difficulty of procuring state and federal funding for road maintenance, and the tough choices past councils have had to make when allocating local funds between important city priorities such as public safety and roads.
I reached out to the city of West Sacramento about funding for road improvements, and city manager Aaron Laurel told me pothole repairs are 100% locally funded, and they're looking for federal and state money to help with more long-term fixes like road replacements.
And that was our Jordan Tolbert reporting. And you may be wondering, does rain actually cause potholes? The short answer, yes. Water can seep into the cracks in the road, weakening the roadbed under the asphalt, and eventually can weaken the road. And when cars drive over those weak spots, obviously, boom, potholes happen. So that's exactly what happens. All right, and here at ABC 10, we've been covering West Sacramento public works projects for a very long time. So let's take a look back at 1983. This was a project to fortify a levee during one of the wettest winters on record. West Sacramento is surrounded by levees on all sides. As you can see, people in the California Conservation Corps are throwing sandbags onto the levee. The city got nearly 40 inches of rain that season. Okay, when we come back, a look at what I was up to this morning because some people in our area were getting some much deserved recognition. Can't wait to share that with you next. This afternoon, I had the pleasure of co-hosting the Business and Community Excellence Awards for the Sacramento Rainbow Chamber of Commerce. And if you aren't familiar with this event, this is a time where they recognize some pretty amazing people who are doing great work right here in Sacramento for the LGBTQ+ community. The people who were honored with an award, and they were recognized today because they have fostered diversity and equity and equality by using their leadership, by being advocates, business owners, and community leaders. So I just want to say thank you to the Rainbow Chamber for allowing me to be a part of this amazing afternoon. And I want to give a huge shout out and congratulations to all those who won an award. Your hard work, it does not go unnoticed. We see you. And before we go tonight, we asked you to weigh in on our main point. Tell us what you would do with that money from the universal basic income. What would you do with the extra $500? Many of you are telling us that you would spend money on food, rent, bills, all those things to be expected, of course. All right. So if you were with us last night, you may have heard about our story, Robin Moore, the Sacramento woman who opened up her backyard to homeless families. And right now she has 4 tiny homes that dozens of families has used as a stepping stone for more permanent housing. She saw our story for the first time last night, and we wanted to share her warm response with you. So she wrote into us saying that we are all talking about what a good job you did. Thank you so much. I am already getting communications from people that want to do something like this. Bless you. Cannot thank you enough. Well, Robin, we can't thank you enough for what you're doing for our community. Keep it up. As you already know, please write into us if you have anything that you want to say. You can always reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram. You can always send us an email. And please let us know what you would do with that extra $500 so we can share it tomorrow. Have a great night. I'll see you later. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.